Madan Mohan Chaturvedi and Professor Kishore Singh. At the last moment, our pre-decided chairperson, Dr. Anil Mishra, could not join us because he is stuck in Haldwani, and therefore Professor Kishore Singh will be co-chairing this session with Professor Chaturvedi. Professor Madan Mohan Chaturvedi is advisor cum provost at SGT University, Gurugram, Haryana, India. His areas of interest are chromatin remodeling and regulation of gene expression, mechanism of cytokine action and signal transduction, inflammation and cancer, epigenetic regulation during liver regeneration. Professor Chaturvedi has a PhD from Department of Zoology, Banaras Hindu University. He was the head and professor at Department of Zoology, University of Delhi, and Dean Research Life Sciences, Department of Zoology, University of Delhi. Professor Chaturvedi was a visiting professor at MD Anderson Cancer Center, Texas, USA. He was also elected as president of Indian Association of Teachers in Biological Sciences for the year 2016 onwards. Professor Chaturvedi was named Man of the Year, American Biographical Society, Raleigh, North Carolina, USA. In 1988, he received the Indian National Science Academy Young Scientist Medal. In 2017, he was the external member of Board of Research Studies at Northeastern Hill University, Shillong, Meghalaya. Professor Chaturvedi was awarded the Swiss National Science Foundation Fellowship from University of Zurich, Switzerland in the year 1986. I welcome you, sir, for chairing this session. Our next chairperson is Dr. Kishore Singh. He is the Director, Professor at Maulana Azad Medical College and Director of Delhi State Cancer Institute. He is also Editor-in-Chief of Journal of Cancer, Research and Therapeutics and Radiation Oncology. With this brief introduction, I hand over the session to you, sir, to proceed with the public lecture proceedings. Thank you.
Chair, Professor Kishore ji. It's my privilege to invite you all to the last session of the 3 days academic feast, I would call it, which you all have witnessed. But this session is an equally very important session. Now, as you all know, this session is going to be delivered by none other than, if I take the liberty to call him the Bhishma Pitama of TNF and the nutraceuticals. You all have been listening from day one that he started entering into the domain when none even thought of. I mean, I will also share some of my personal, give me 2-3 minutes time, because my association with Professor Agarwal had been very long. And so he started working in the field when no one even thought of, and when we started working, there were a lot of comments, a lot of ridiculing that what are you going to do, what you are going to achieve. But with his commitment and passion, he kept on working, and now the work started with curcumin way back in 1993. And now you all know the rest of the history, the rest of the world has followed with some or other, and then after this curcumin, there was never looking back. The number of phytochemicals, number of compounds, number of spices, number of plants, establishing the concepts, establishing the proof, and that he entered into to show to the world that there can be an alternative therapy. And maybe you listened from him that there can be, instead of farmers market, what he calls PHARMER, pharmacy market, to the farmers market, FARMER, farmers market. Now, to those who still do not know him, let me just tell you that this is an old thing, don't read it. His total publication is more than 900, citations are more than 1,70,000 something, H index is 211, I index is 622, and twice he has been awarded the top 100 best, most highly cited scientists in the world, not only one, twice. And rarely it happens the people from the industry, academia moves to the industry to the academia. A lot of people go from academia to industry. So having worked as one of the 10 founder person of TA and Genentech, later in '89 he moved as a full professor with a huge grant to MD Anderson Cancer Center. And at that time, again let me tell you, the term biological therapy had just emerged. The Genentech TNF was tested in that lab and that department, which was chaired by Jordan Gutterman, and not TNF, interferon. Interferon was first tested as a therapeutic molecule, and consequently the department was named as a biological therapy first in the world of kind, and Professor Agarwal was professor invited from Genentech to be a professor at that time. And then he has a long journey at MD Anderson Cancer Center, trained more than, the list is long, 100 postdocs and other, and he established not only a school within the US, across the globe. The list is on and on. I can keep telling across the globe because I've been associated with, since 1993, I got a chance to visit him, and since then my association has still been continued. So with these few words, I will not take long because it's a last session and all of you want to get concluded. I take the privilege to invite you, sir, to give the public lecture. Professor Agarwal.
Dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I would like to thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity to be here with you. And I'm very happy to be here. And all of you know who the organizers are. And that is Professor Alok Bharati and Anju Srivastava. So if it was not for them, I will not be here. Second, I would like to thank Dr. Madan Chaturvedi for his very generous introduction this evening. And it is very nice of him, it is very, very flattering. And last of all, I would like to thank all of you for being here. If it was not for you guys, I will not be here. So thank you. And today, this is my first slide. So today, as you can see, what I'm going to talk about, targeting inflammatory pathways for prevention and treatment of cancer and other chronic diseases by agents derived from Ayurveda. And as all of you know, India is a land of Ayurveda, and it is the oldest science known to man. And it is also, India is also land of spices. And people have been looking for spices for hundreds and hundreds of years. And as all of you know, that Vasco da Gama and Christopher Columbus and Jose Cabarillo, and all these three guys were looking for spices. And they knew that spices are connected with India. So they apparently found some spices in America, and they thought that those were Indians, and those turned out to be now called American Indians. And so it is a Vasco da Gama who actually discovered the spices in India, and we organized our first Nutra conference. Actually, the second one is in Goa, and that's where Vasco da Gama is from. So, and then, so you can see Ayurveda, spices, and other nutraceutical. So I'm kind of going to give you a kind of overview, how we look at all of that. And apparently that plays a very important role in various diseases known to man. So with that, that I already mentioned, that thank to Alok Bharati and Anju Srivastava for organizing this conference, and they have done an excellent job, and let's hope that this thing continues, and this is just a flyer. And we had formed another society called International Society of Translational Cancer Research. And as you can see, that the first conference we held was 2006 in Trivandrum, and the last one was in Varanasi in 2020. And so this also lasted very well, and it just so happened to be that I've been working on cancer for the last 40 years. And some of you may know who Steve Jobs is, and Steve Jobs happened to have a friend, his name is Bob Swanson. So both the guys moved to Bay Area, San Francisco area, and they both started a company. Steve Jobs started a company called Apple, and Bob Swanson, his colleague, started a company called Genentech. So, and Genentech was the first biotechnology company ever. And so I got hired by Genentech, and that is where Bob Swanson came to me and he said, Bart? I said, wait a minute, my name is Bharat. He said, can I call you Bart? So Bart in San Francisco means Bay Area Rapid Transit. So that was the first time I was given a name Bart, and so all the white people, American people, they cannot pronounce Bharat, so they call me Bart. So that is where I started my career on cancer, and I've been working on cancer since 1980. So it is now more than 40 years, and these are the conferences that we were organizing on cancer. And then we also asked that it is the mother that brings us in this world, and Mother Nature is there to take care of us. So the question is, how does Mother Nature takes care of us? And that is where the word nutraceutical came along. So you have a pharmaceutical. Pharmaceutical are the drugs that are made by man, whereas nutraceutical are the drugs made by Mother Nature. So these are natural. So that is where we found another society. As you can see, the first conference we held was in Cochin in 2016, and then in 2017 we had in Goa, and then Dehradun, and then Guwahati, and now in Delhi. And then you can see some of the other that we have planned in the future. So this is again making people realize that what, as I mentioned before, that Mother is the one who brings us in this world, and Mother Nature is there to take care of it. And the question is, what is there in the Mother Nature that takes care of us? And that is what this conference is all about, this nutraceutical conference. So these are some of the organizers of the nutraceutical conference. I just put it down there, the pictures, and WhatsApp has become, Zoom has become the boom, and so we Zoom every now and then and meet, and these are the people that we are meeting through Zoom and to talk about nutraceutical. So as I mentioned that I got into cancer, and the way I got into cancer was year 1980. I already mentioned you Bob Swanson and Steve Jobs. They both were together, and one started Apple, other started Genentech, and it is Bob Swanson from Genentech, the first guy who got me into cancer research, and that was year 1980. So when he asked me that, okay, he wants me to find a cure to cancer, and I did not know anything about cancer, and there was nothing known about the immune system. So it is at that time we started grinding up the immune cell and isolating factors that will kill only cancer guy and nothing else. And so that is where we identifying the first factor, and that is called tumor necrosis factor. We were the first one to purify, sequence, and clone. And it just so happened that my colleagues, they were the first one to clone interferon, and they were calling it interferon alpha, beta, gamma. So when I asked the TNF that where the TNF is coming from, so it was coming from the immune system, and the question is which cells in the immune system, and it turned out to be it was coming from macrophages. And as you know, that the immune system has macrophages, and that also has lymphocytes. And from lymphocytes, we identified another factor that will kill the cancer guy and not the normal guy. So we did not know what to call it, so we started calling it TNF-beta, and originally it was called lymphotoxin. So lymphotoxin became TNF-beta. So a lot of stuff that I'm going to tell you today is either done by TNF-alpha or TNF-beta. So this is just to give you a kind of a summary about some of the papers that we have published on TNF-alpha and TNF-beta, and it is all out there. Any of you can look it up, but here I just put it up in one of the slides. And by the way, if anybody is interested in any of the slides, it is available to you, and it's just for general information. So we have reviews like signaling pathways of the TNF superfamily, a double-edged sword. What does that mean? That one of the edge of the sword is good for you, another edge of the sword for bad. It is made by the immune system. Or historical perspective on TNF and its superfamily. And again, that is all published, but it is just trying to give you that overview. And so it turned out that all of you heard of probably MD Anderson Cancer Center. So we tested our TNF in a test tube. It worked beautifully as anti-cancer agents. And then we tested in animals. It worked beautifully. But turned out that humans are neither test tube nor animals. Humans are human. So until we test our TNF in cancer patients, we don't know whether it will work or not. So that is where I got recruited by University of Texas MD Anderson Cancer Center to test our TNF in the cancer patients, and they did. And virtually all the patients responded, but they got more sick than ever before. So what was necrotizing tumors in the test tube or in animal, it was promoting tumors in the animal. Just imagine. So it was making patients worse. So that is the time they started making inhibitors of TNF. So here is the pharmaceutical companies. They came up with the small molecules as inhibitors of TNF, and apparently these are some of the diseases that have been linked to TNF, and TNF inhibitors are used for it. And now that has created a market over $40 billion a year. Billion. And that is for the course of last 30 years. And no drug known to man, I challenge you, has a bigger market than that. And just so happened, and as I was a kid in Punjab, where we came as a refugee from Pakistan in 1947, my family did, and I was born in India, in Punjab, and my mother, that anytime you get hurt, anytime you have any kind of issue, the first thing that she will apply is haldi, turmeric. And so I had this very strong passion towards turmeric, that it works for all kind of diseases, all kind of ailments, here, there, and whatnot. So I did the same thing with the TNF, that will turmeric block it? And the answer is yes. So we were the first one to show that yes, indeed, that turmeric will block TNF, and this $40 billion market, that which is antibody against TNF, that can be counteracted by turmeric. Question is, what is there in turmeric that can block TNF? So that is where we were the first one to identify a compound from turmeric called curcumin that will block TNF. So I'm going to show you, and so these are some of the drugs that have been approved as TNF inhibitor by the FDA. And so FDA is a very, 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 very crazy organization, to tell you the truth. And the reason for that being that FDA approved all these things as TNF blockers for various diseases. So what we did, we formed a company called Curry Pharmaceutical. Under that, we went with the curcumin, which is the yellow color in turmeric, to the FDA for approval. And FDA declined. Why they declined? They said, look, people have been eating for thousands of years. Why do you need my approval? Just go home and eat as much as you want. Okay? So they completely decline. So as of today, it is used by a lot of different companies. I already mentioned that the market for TNF blocker is $40 billion, and this is data from 2017. And these are some of the companies that are making TNF blocker, which is all antibodies. And so all the blockers that are approved by the FDA, they have black label warning, which means they have a lot of side effects. And these are all side effects that I mentioned, and that means they are not good for you. And yet, people are willing to pay $40 billion. And gradually, and very gradually, they are beginning to realize that turmeric can do exactly that. Now there are a lot of shops in America, they are selling turmeric and curcumin in all different shapes and forms and whatnot. So much so Johnson made even a Band-Aid. As I mentioned that when we were kids, we get hurt. The first thing mother will apply was turmeric. So Johnson & Johnson even made a Band-Aid that if you get hurt, you can make a turmeric Band-Aid. So I think I don't want to kind of confuse all of you. So we have written a lot of reviews, a lot of papers that you already heard from Madan. And here is one of the papers, if anybody is interested, can look it up, that both upside and downside of TNF blockers. And when I say downside, that I already mentioned there's a black label warning given by the FDA for all the TNF blockers, but nobody yet, to my knowledge, has given a black label warning to turmeric. So turmeric is very, very safe, and it works remarkably. So, and then if you look at the global cancer incidence, no country has more cancer than America. And no country has spent more money to find a cure to cancer than America. So here you can see in red that shown over here is the highest incidence of cancer. And then India has one of the lowest incidence of cancer in the world. However, as India is becoming Americanized, cancer is going up and up and up, even in India, because they are trying to adapt the American lifestyle. And the future is looking even more oblique, both for India and America. Because, as I mentioned, Mother is the one that brings us in this world, and Mother Nature is there to take care of it. More you move away from the Mother Nature, more you are going to pay heavy price for cancer and all the other chronic diseases. So, and that is what is happening. So here you can see that the projection for global cancer incidence and cancer death. And you can see that what is shown in red is cancer death, and what is shown here in yellow is the new cases of cancer. And you can see that 2002 so you can see that 2002 versus 2020 and versus 2030, that cancer incidence is going up and up and up. Okay? And the cancer death here shown in red is going to go up and up and up. So as I said, more you run away from the Mother Nature, more it is not in your favor as indicated by this. And here is India alone, and this is the most recent data, and you can see the cases in 1990 versus 2016. And you can see state by state the burden of cancer and the variation across the states. Again, it is going up and up. And I think not very many people know this, but I want to share with you that one of the first drug ever discovered for cancer and approved by the FDA was Indian people. And here I'm showing you 3 different people who you may or may not have heard of, that who discovered the first anti-cancer drug known to man. And you can see Subara You can see Sagar and you can see Mansukhwani. And I indeed showed there, I'm showing you a picture and I'm showing the drug that they are the one who discovered. And they are used even as of today. And all three of them were in America. Mansukhwani spent most of his career in America, and Subba Rao was in Chennai for a while, and Sahgal was in New Jersey. So kind of gives you an idea that this is where the first anti-cancer drugs came along. And as of today, these are all the drugs that have been approved by the FDA between 1949 and 2004. And look at the number of drugs. And curcumin, you will be amazed that how much in parallel So, okay, so now you got all these drugs and you got billions of dollars. Question is it helping? And here is the latest paper that came out in 2017 in Cell, that of the 91 new therapies approved for solid tumors between 2002 and 2016, the median overall survival benefit was little more than 2 months. Only 2 months. After spending billions of dollars, yet the annual price tag per patient now is regularly exceeds $100,000. It's not I'm saying it, this is a paper coming in Cell. Only 2 months increase in lifespan. It's making a fool of somebody. Okay. So here is a food for thought, and that's what we are here for. And so, food for thought, how complicated is the human disease? We need to understand that. And apparently it is very, 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 very complicated. And I won't have the time to go through it. And there are a lot of other facts about the DNA and so forth. I cannot see from here very well. But I think, as I said, all this information is available to you. And please make use of it. So our working hypothesis has been that dysregulated chronic inflammation. Inflammation is Agni Devta, fire god. If fire is under control, everything is good. And if fire is out of control, everything is bad. So our whole immune system is full of fire. And as long as the immune system is under control, no problem. But same immune system, when it gets out of control, it causes damage. So, and that's what dysregulated chronic inflammation. And caused by lifestyle factors, mediate chronic diseases. So here you have the solution. You control inflammation, you control the disease. That's it. And here is the inflammation. It is a fire. Whole issue of immunity devoted to it. Okay? So here is the secret killer. The whole issue of Time magazine, okay, is about inflammation, fire, the secret killer. And the fires within, you have seen this slide even before. Okay, these are fire burning, even while we are sitting over here. Different people are thinking of different things. There are different things bothering to different people. So different kind of fires burning in all of us. And question is how to keep it out of control. And some are able to, while others are not. They get out of hand. So these are all fire. And so here is the controlled fire shown on the top. As I said, fire is not bad. And so here is in the kitchen, in the living room, in the bedroom. You have a fire on, everything is good. And here at the second part is uncontrolled fire. Same fire, same inflammation out of control. You can see it causes havoc. So as long as you keep your inflammation under control, you are fine. So question is where the inflammation is coming from to begin with. Here you can see cigarette smoking. 30% of all cancer is due to cigarette smoking. Here is a radiation. At least this is the problem that does not exist in India, that where all these women and men sitting under the radiation. trying to burn their skin and ending up with skin cancer. Having known that all this radiation will cause skin cancer, still people in America or Western world, they do it. And then here is a diet, here is obesity. These are all lifestyle causing inflammation. So here are further various sources of inflammation that I have outlined: environmental pollution, food factor, bacteria, viruses, and stress. People are more under stress now than ever before, which means inflammation. Ultraviolet radiation, alcoholic beverages, these are all inflammation. So here, as you can see, that I listed that cancer is a preventable disease that requires change in lifestyle. And 30% of all cancer due to tobacco, 35% diet. As they say, you are what you eat. So if your diet is not right, it will lead to cancer. 35% of cancer due to diet. And 14 to 20% is obesity, 18% is infection, 7% environmental pollution, and only 5% and max 10% is due to the bad gene that you inherit. So you can very well imagine that most people who get cancer, where do they get the cancer? And we need to know that. And mind you, that I hate to say that even a lot of medical doctors that I have ran into, they do not know about it. And they don't want their patients to know about it. And I have several medical doctors come to me that even if they know it, they will use it for themselves, but they will never use it for the patient because they cannot make any money out of it. Okay? So here you can see nearly 50% of cancer deaths worldwide, and this paper came very recently, 2022, August 31st, 2022. Nearly 50% of cancer deaths worldwide are caused by preventable risk factors like smoking, alcohol, and obesity. So the data is all there. This is global cancer death as of 2022. So there is a word called ETs, and it is this guy, his name is Rudolf Virchow. In 1850, he was the first one to define inflammation and its link to cancer. And he is from Würzburg, Germany. Here we have somebody from Germany, from Berlin. Oh, I don't see him here. And so apparently it was in Germany that the first definition of inflammation, and it's linked with atherosclerosis, it's linked with rheumatoid arthritis, multiple sclerosis, cancer, asthma, Alzheimer's disease. So it was this guy was the first one to do that. So he was also the one to define inflammation as a pain, heat, redness, swelling, and loss of function. And that was the definition of inflammation. And he gave the word inflammation introduced as ETs. If somebody says, I have arthritis, which means inflammation of the joints. If somebody says, I have bronchitis, inflammation of the bronchus, or sinusitis. So wherever this ETs appears, it means inflammation. So as of today, there are 200 different kinds of ETs. Okay, here are all the ETs. These are all inflammation. Okay. So Science journal that all of you know is a very, very prestigious, devoted their whole issue to inflammation. And this is copy from 2013. And now, as of 2021, again, whole issue of Science is devoted to inflammation. So if anybody is interested, can look it up. Okay, that how critical, how important is inflammation. So here are all the different cancers that I have indicated here, that which are caused by inflammation. I have indicated here that where the inflammation is coming from, and then I have indicated that say bronchitis leading to lung cancer, hepatitis leading to liver cancer, cervicitis leading to cervical cancer, colitis leading to colon cancer. So all these ETs leads to cancer. Okay, So wherever this word ETs means, it end up in cancer. So therefore, our working hypothesis has been that NF-kappa B activation is a major mediator of inflammation in most chronic diseases, including cancer. And if you were to inhibit NF-kappa B, you can prevent and even delay the onset of chronic disease. It is that simple. Okay. So these are all the genes that are regulated by NF-kappa B. So by just regulating one transcription factor, you can regulate all these various genes. So just NF-kappa B. And I'm going to show you that turmeric can do just that. Okay. So here is NF-kappa B. So TNF, everything bad that TNF does is through NF-kappa B. And you can see that I indicated NF-kappa B further lead to STAT3, and it is involved in survival of the tumor, proliferation of the tumor, angiogenesis, invasion metastasis, bone loss. Every aspect of cancer is regulated. So these are just all the different where NF-kappa B is coming from. We have tobacco-linked cancer, carcinogen-induced cancer, virus-induced cancer, UV-induced cancer. They are all mediated through NF-kappa B. So NF-kappa B addiction and its role in cancer. One size does not fit all. So this is the role of NF-kappa B, and we did a whole review that was published in Oncology. And these are all the different genes that are regulated, the crosstalk between NF-kappa B and other transcription factors. And I'm going to, I'm running short of time, so I'm going to kind of quickly go through some of the other stuff. And here just to show you that virtually every stage of cancer, from normal to tumor, survival of the tumor, proliferation, invasion, angiogenesis, metastasis, they are all regulated by NF-kappa B, and most cancers start at the age of 20, mind you, and they're manifested at the age of 40. Okay, between 40 and 50. And so here I have indicated that 10 to 20 years is its incubation phase, and another 20 years for its progression phase. So these are NF-kappa B is involved not only in the immune system, and here I have indicated all the various diseases that have been linked to NF-kappa B. And as I mentioned, NF-kappa B is a transcription factor, causes inflammation, and here are all these various diseases linked to inflammation. And the reason I'm going through all that, I'm going to show you a whole bunch of natural products that can block just that. It is that simple. So here is with Ajay Kunnumakara and all the others that we have done another review, inflammation, NF-kappa B, and chronic diseases. How are they linked? Pretty much spelled out here. And so, for example, cigarette smoke. Cigarette smoke activates NF-kappa B and uses COX-2. So that's where NF-kappa B is coming from. And here we have looked at lung cancer patients, and as the cancer gets more and more advanced, there is more and more. And here is obesity, and as I mentioned that 14% of the cancer is male and 20% of the female have been linked to obesity, and here are all the cancers that have been linked to obesity. So NF-kappa B is the enemy within us, and we published a paper in Cancer Cell. NF-kappa B can be a friend if it remains in the immune system, but the moment it gets out of the immune system, it becomes a foe, and that's what we have this review. NF-kappa B in cancer, a matter of life and death. So here we have a stress, NF-kappa B, inflammation, and leading to cancer. So this has been our working hypothesis over the years. And inflammation, a double-edged sword for cancer and other age-related diseases. This is another review that we did together, Subhash Gupta and Ajay Kunnumakara and Sadhana Agarwal. I think all three of them are sitting in the audience right now. And so they are the one drivers of this review. So this is again the same thing, and here is a neutralizing tumor promoting inflammation, a magic bullet. And this is again my colleague Lisa Cousin and from UCSF did a whole review for Science that neutralizing tumor promoting chronic inflammation, a magic bullet. So question is how to control inflammation. There are steroids that can control inflammation. They are NSAID, non-steroid anti-inflammatory drugs. There's Celebrex, there's a metformin, there's statin, and these are all drugs that are approved by the FDA, and they can all control inflammation. However, this is a conference on nutraceutical, and then there are a whole bunch of natural products that can control inflammation, and that's what we're going to talk about. And these are the natural products. These are, spices, and as I mentioned, India is a land of spices. These are Ayurvedic medicines. These are fruits and vegetables, traditional Chinese medicine, and so forth. All these can control inflammation. And here are the active compounds that I have outlined for you, that what is there in all those spices and Ayurveda and so forth that can control inflammation, and it is already documented. And these are the compounds. So this is nothing different, because Hippocrates proclaimed 25 centuries ago, let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. It is that simple. And so simply what we are trying to do is scientifically prove it, that whatever Hippocrates said 25 centuries ago is true. Okay? And here again we have another review. There's a whole book that we edited, Inflammation, Lifestyle and Chronic Diseases. It's silent. And here is a farmer's market, and you can see the fruits, spices, vegetables, cereals, that active compounds have been identified that can control inflammation. Here is a bigger farmer's market, and it's keep growing. Here is a more bigger farmer's market, and these are all fruits and vegetables that can control inflammation, and the active compounds have been identified. And here is a more. And here, for example, resveratrol is one of the agents we have identified that can block NF-kappa B, can block inflammation. So question is, what is resveratrol? And here I showed you the structure, and where it is coming from. I showed you all the different kind of plants and that actually produce resveratrol. And grapes, for example, that be that red grapes or white grapes, they produce resveratrol. And grapes lead to wine. If it is a red wine, that people which they love, and they are acquiring resveratrol. So I indicated it here. So resveratrol addiction, to die or not. And when I say resveratrol addiction, because a lot of people they have a wine. So they are going for a wine for resveratrol. So they are addicted to the wine. Why? Because they think this is how they get resveratrol. Question is it going to do them any good, or is it going to do them any bad? And that is where the symbol comes in, to die or not. Resveratrol, a multi-targeted agent for age-associated chronic diseases. It blocks NF-kappa B and blocks a lot of other things. And chemosensitization of tumors by resveratrol. Again, you can look it up, and Subhash Gupta sitting right here is the one who did this. So here is more that Shakibai, you already heard Shakibai also talk about it. And here is indole 3-carbinol, another compound that are coming from the mother nature. And here I indicated all the different fruits and vegetables where it comes from. Again, blocks NF-kappa B and works remarkably well for all the various problems. And again, all this should look very familiar. So here is a tocotrienol. So everybody heard of tocopherol, but here is a tocotrienol, the vitamin E of the 21st century, and its potential against cancer and various other diseases. And so this is a tocopherol, which is vitamin E. And so a lot of people have heard of vitamin E, but very few people have heard of tocopherol, which is the brother or sister of tocopherol. And that is shown here in the red in terms of these differences in structure and so forth. And so this is where tocotrienol comes from. And as you can see, and Malaysia is very big on all this palm oil, so palm, rice, barley, oat, wheat, and so they all are the sources of tocotrienol. So here is more further sources, and I can go on, and so that is all sources of tocotrienol. So here is that we published an article that tocotrienol, but not tocopherol, inhibits NF-kappa, and it is all spelled out. So in other words, even though they have a similar structure, but they are not the same. They behave very differently. So role of tocotrienol in the treatment of pancreatic cancer, and we looked at it, and other people looked at it. And here you can see gamma tocotrienol inhibit pancreatic tumors and sensitize them to gemcitabine, which is the standard treatment for modulating inflammatory microbiome. So it is that simple. So you can use chemo all right, but you can make chemo more effective if it is combined with tocotrienol. And that's what this is. And this is again Kunnu Makara is the driver. And Ayurveda, and as all of you know, that India is the land of Ayurveda, and Ayurveda means science of long life, and the origin of Ayurveda dates back to as much as 5000 BCE, and it originated as an oral tradition, and Ayurveda consists of Charaka Samhita, Sushrita Samhita, and Bela Samhita, written all around 6th century BC, and that is again very strong part of our culture, and we did a whole review from traditional Ayurvedic medicine to modern medicine. Okay. Identification of therapeutic targets for suppression of inflammation to cancer. And you can see that some of these people here, and you heard Gautam Sethi, he just gave a talk today, and he's a partner. So here is identification of novel anti-inflammatory agents from Ayurvedic medicine again for chronic diseases, reverse pharmacology. And just to give you a kind of preview, this is a Google. So we did a whole review, Googling the Google. Okay. And Google is nothing but Withania somnifera. Here I showed what it looks like, identify the active compound, and it blocks the Googling the Google for prevention of chronic disease. And again, Ajay Kunnu Makara is the driver for this particular. So here is another one that where we showed that it completely blocks NF-kappa. So, and this was published in Ichikawa, and here is a boswellia, and it is also called frankincense or salai bugle. And here is an active compound that in salai bugle, and it again blocks NF-kappa. Here is ashwagandha, Withania somnifera, Withanolites. Ashwa means horse, gandha means smell. It smells like a horse. That's why it's called ashwagandha. Okay, and Withania somnifera, and the active compound is withanolite, and again it blocks it. Here is a long pepper. Everybody heard of small pepper, and here is a long pepper called Piper longum. It selectively kills the cancer guy, but not the normal guy, and the mechanism by which it works. And this whole article came in Nature about Piper longum. And we published that this is working through NF-kappa. Okay. And here is a neem. Neem is Azadi Raktika Indica. Azadi means freedom. Drakht means tree. The tree that gives you freedom from all diseases. Azadi Raktika. Indica means from India. So this is Sarab Rog Nivarani is the name in Sanskrit for neem. And again, the active compound is nimbola. And this is again tree that not all of you may know, that is very, very, very native to India only. And it works remarkably well. And here we published again in JBC that how this neem compound nimbolite works against cancer. And again, Subhash Gupta is the driver for this particular matter. And here is again another article published by Subhash Gupta on neem. So from exotic spice to modern drugs. And this is another Dr. Singh published himself in 2007, that the global demand for more affordable therapeutic and concern about side effects of commonly used drugs are refocusing interest on Eastern traditional medicine, particularly those from India and China. And so here we did a review again, Ajay Kunnumakara, crowning diseases, inflammation and spices, how are they? And these are all the various spices what we are talking about. I don't have to tell you, you guys know very well. And here is a Vasco da Gama looking for spices. And the route that we took is called Spice Route. And here is the whole avenue that indicated, and in Goa way back in 1498 that he came here looking for spices. And these are the spices that what he was looking for. And we have a whole book, if anybody is interested, called Healing Spices. Over 100,000 copies are already sold. And these are already translated into different languages. So which deals with spice by spice by spice. So, and another book that we have here that you can see, Molecular Targets and Therapeutic Uses of Spices. And again, if anybody is interested, Ajay is an integral part of this. And here is add spice to your life. And that's what we're talking about. Curry in a hurry. You know, they opened up a restaurant in New York. Okay. And spice it up. Spice me. These are the terminology that is used in America right now. And spice products. You know. So I'm trying to, show you that how they use spices over there. So much so most of the American women, they are named after spices. How? Here you can see anise, ginger, rosemary, mace, pepper, basil, tulsi, sage, jasmine, angelica, curry, chili, tamarind. These are all American women. They are all named after spices. They may not eat the spicy, but they name all the women after spices. Okay. So here is another guy, Manoj Pandey, and even Subhash Gupta is a very much part of it. Dietary nutraceutical as a backbone for the, okay, to keep the bone strong. Healing with spices. So these are all the various spices, and that's what we're talking about. And here are more spices I don't have to tell you, you know very well. And curcumin is one of the spices we publish in annual reviews of nutrition, targeting inflammation-induced obesity and metabolic diseases by curcumin and other nutraceuticals, and molecular targets of nutraceutical derived from dietary spices. And this is another review that has been done. And here is the curcumin that it is coming from, where it is coming from, capsaicin and diastenin and anethol, eugenol, ursolic acid. These are all coming from different spices, and they all block NF-kappa. And here is the red chili, and it blocks NF-kappa B, and shown in all this publication. Here is the ginger, blocks NF-kappa B, and they're shown in here. Here is the ginger, it prevents bone loss. So here is a lot of experiments that have been done. So if anybody has a bone issue, and take more ginger. Here is the black cumin, and again blocks NF-kappa B. Here is a fenugreek, again blocks NF-kappa B. Here is a fennel, again blocks NF-kappa B. Here is a black pepper, again blocks NF-kappa B. Here is a cardamom, blocks NF-kappa B. Here is a cardamom again, rank ligand, which is an antibody against rank ligand, have been approved by the FDA with a market several $1 billion. And cardamom just can do that. So nobody going to make any money out of cardamom as compared to this antibodies against this. And here is the curcumin getting back to our roots. And that's what we are here. And this is the structure of curcumin. And this is just to show you that where it is coming from. And this is, we have a whole issue, trends in pharmacological sciences, that they put us on the cover on this magazine called Pharmacology of Curcumin. I'm sure there are some people here from South India, and in South India they use a turmeric even to color their feet. And that is shown right over here. And so they put that one on the cover of this particular magazine. Okay. And so they wrote our whole review on this pharmacological basis for the role of curcumin in chronic diseases and age-old spice with modern products. Okay. So, and apparently there are 100 different types of turmeric, over 100 different types. And here I happen to be hanging around Chitrakoot, and Chitrakoot they were selling black turmeric. And in Gujarat there is a white turmeric. And Karkuma amba means it tastes like a mango. Okay. And there is a black turmeric, and they use it to induce abortion and all kind of things. And I was in Turkey, again they have black turmeric. So there are 100 different kinds of turmeric, but we know very little about all of them. So it was this particular guy, and the first paper ever to be published on curcumin was in Nature. So as an antibacterial agent, and here is that paper, and this is a guy by Vogel, and apparently it turned out to be, as of today, that turmeric curcumin is antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal, anti-cancer, anti-obesity. The list goes on and on. And even anti-coronavirus, with Ajay Kunnumakara, who did the whole review on that it completely knocks down coronavirus. Okay. And so as I said, list goes on, and here is just to show you that the amount of curcumin that is present in turmeric. If it is a 25 gram of turmeric, half a gram will be curcumin in it. And as I already mentioned, Johnson & Johnson has made a Band-Aid, and here I am showing the Band-Aid, and there is a Vicco Vajradanti, which already all of you know is a curcumin paste. And there, before pH meter came along, turmeric was used as a pH indicator. How? That if it is put under acidic condition, turmeric will turn black. If it is put under alkaline condition, it will turn red. So you can tell the pH of a solution just by using that. So here I showed all of that. So antibacterial action, as I mentioned, is published in Nature in 1949. So here is just to show you that this is our first paper on curcumin as an anti-inflammatory agent, and it completely blocks enough kappa B, and it just, all the data that is published, and any of you can look it up. And here, so far nobody, I challenge you, nobody has found a cancer that curcumin cannot kill. And here are all the cancers that I have indicated, at least in the test, at least in the animals, but now at least in humans. So together with Ajay Kunnumakara, it turned out that over 500 clinical trials now have been done with the curcumin alone. And normally one clinical trial is enough to get an FDA approval. And 500 clinical trials tell you everything that what curcumin does in humans. And here are all the different inflammatory targets of curcumin. And here is all the different things curcumin binds to. Mind you, this is a physical binding of curcumin to all this in our own body. It is mind-blowing. Okay. And so curcumin is orally bioavailable blocker of TNF. The blocker of TNF that has been approved by the FDA, which are antibody, have to be injected. And this one is orally bioavailable. What more you can ask? So here is a woman, Usha Rani. I don't know how many of you know. She's from Nizam Institute in Hyderabad. And she is the one who showed that if you give 150 milligram curcumin twice a day, and here she gave it to people, 21 people placebo, and 23 people here with curcumin, you can see serum levels of TNF are down. So now we are not talking about rat or mice. We are talking about human. And 150 milligram. And no modification. So a lot of people have modified curcumin. Why? Because they are looking for free curcumin. So when they give it to human, they don't see anything free. Because curcumin has so many levels in our body that it is not freely available. So they think it disappears. But question is, what is the end result? End result is shown right here. It does what it's supposed to, blocks TNF. And a lot of other things. But it's not freely available because there are so many levels of curcumin in our body to which it binds and then delivered wherever it is. So these are all the clinical trials, and 120 listed over here, and even it became even longer. Now this is over 300. As I said, normally one clinical trial is enough to get FDA approved. Over 300. Okay. So here is a biliary disease published by Albert Oppenheimer in Lancet in 1937. Just imagine. Okay. And phase 2 clinical trial curcumin with advanced pancreatic cancer. This is what my colleague Rizal Kurzra, we published together with her, that it works remarkably well for pancreatic cancer. And as all of you know, pancreatic cancer is very, very lethal cancer. Okay. And even a guy like Steve Jobs died of pancreatic cancer. Okay. And so here is a therapeutic role of curcumin that's to be learned from clinical trial against Subhash Gupta is the driver. And here are all the different diseases where curcumin has been tested. And you can see the list is very, very, very big. And the curcumin bioavailability, how big is the problem? And here we have published a lot of papers on curcumin bioavailability, and I'm not going to go through, but the bottom line is there's no problem. And here you can see in the blood, thyroid, heart, lung, liver, spleen, the kidney, muscle, and I indicated it in a matter of minutes, and it is everywhere in our body. No problem whatsoever. And they have made even a band-aid. And here is a topical application. I happen to be giving a talk in Bulgaria, and apparently, one of the guys from the audience who was a medical doctor came to me, and apparently he said he's using curcumin for cutaneous T-cell lymphoma. He said he's topically applying on this patient, and he gave me actually pictures, and I'm sharing these pictures with you. Topical application, okay, and works remarkably. So this is even psoriasis. There's a woman at UCLA, and so she's using curcumin for psoriasis. And here you can see that this is the picture that she gave me, that here you can see topical application. She even changed the name of curcumin to Soria Gold. So she found a company, and she's selling curcumin under the name of Soria Gold because it blocks psoriasis. Okay, and so her name is Madeline Ann, and I indicated over here. So it works remarkably. And here is a uveitis, and which is again inflammation in the eye, and it works remarkably well. And so, and it is very synergistic with the resveratrol, green tea, quercetin, piperine, genistan, you name it, and you can use it. So I think that the bottom line is that India is a land of spices. It is a land of Ayurveda. Therefore, if you look at the incidence of cancer in India versus United States, and I indicated over here that spice consumption here is shown in red, and here is incidence of cancer in male shown in red, and incidence of cancer in female shown here in green. And this is India, and here you look at versus US, that the amount of spices consumed is very, very low, and then incidence of cancer in male versus female is very, very high. It is not in your favor. So more spices you consume, lesser is the cancer. And that is the bottom line. And this is the data coming from NIH, where they are looking at the epidemiological evidence. And here that they have done cancer by cancer in US versus India. The number of cases versus number of deaths. And you can see it for this. So it just so happened that I happened to be giving a talk in Turkey, Istanbul. And there is a Grand Bazaar in Istanbul. And right outside the Grand Bazaar, I see my name, Bharat, written. And the guy has all these spices over there. And my wife is taking my picture. Here I am standing here. And the guy who is the owner of the shop is objecting that why you are taking a picture of my shop. And my wife said, the reason I'm taking his picture because his name is Bharat too. And he said, oh, impossible. How could he be Bharat? Bharat is spicy. So to him, Bharat means spices. And that's why he named his shop as Bharat. So apparently in Turkish language, Bharat means spices. Okay, that's something which is kind of, is it a coincidence or is it lie? So haldi is healthy, and we've done another review. And as I mentioned, in New York, they opened up a restaurant. In Curry Hill, a kid on the block called, the name of the restaurant is Haldi. And in Palo Alto, Stanford, they opened up a restaurant called Turmeric, the golden spice. Okay, and this is just to show you turmeric cookie, turmeric latte, all kind of thing now they are putting turmeric. These are all the different products that are based on turmeric. So it is getting very, very, very popular. And so even I mentioned that we did a review with this is Ajay Kundumakara, COVID, cytokine inflammation and spices, how are they related, and it is published in 2021, and this is a Nature review, and I just don't want to kind of go through it, and with all that. So now because of all these spices, and because of our contribution to Ayurveda, if you look at 200,000 scientists in the world, we are rated as number 84 on this one, and you heard earlier that all because of the citation index. And with that, I just want to tell you that anything and everything that I have said till now, I'm not the doer. The doers are all these people described. There are several of them here in the audience, and they are the one who carried out all the work, and I just oversee it. And so I'm very thankful to all of them for doing all this. So with that, I stop right here, and thank you.
Thank you, sir, for a very, very elaborate enlightening us on our heritage and the future use of the spices, both in therapy and
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Agarwal, for a very informative and invigorating lecture. I would now request Professor Chaturvedi to felicitate Professor Agarwal with a shawl and a memento. I would now request Professor Kishore Singh to present a shawl and a bouquet to Mrs. Uma Agarwal. I would also request Professor Dr. Kishore Singh to present a memento to our chairperson, Professor M. Chaturvedi.
या इधर कैमरा कैमरा इधर इनको जरा आगे खड़ा कर दो.
I would request Professor Alok Bharti sir to present a flower bouquet to Dr. Kishore Singh. much, ladies and gentlemen. We would right now begin with the valedictory session, and for that I hand over the stage to Apurva.